in case you guys haven't heard, there was a small announcement that may or may not have been announced this morning. There is a game called Mortal Kombat 1 that got announced, and as much as I would have liked to do a reaction for y'all, man, I'm sorry, mine is just gonna pale in comparison to everybody else's since, you know, I don't really use a face cam. But regardless, I pretty much had about the same reaction as most other people, so I am super stoked for when the new game comes out. I was even more surprised that it's coming out basically around the same time that MK11 did after the announcement, which is like 4 months after the reveal, which is insane. But yeah, man, from I guess I'll do a quick like rundown of the trailer. Pardon me, man. Apologize. I'm just still dealing with a little bit of the illness that I've had over the past week. But anyways, bear with me. Okay, so as I was saying, with the trailer. Oh shit! Sorry. There's always something to get in the way. Anyways, yeah, with the trailer, we saw like Raiden, we saw Liu Kang, obviously as a fire god. We saw Kung Lao, and basically most of the characters from MK2, minus the, you know, like the other palette swap ninjas. But regardless, man, the game is it was obviously a CG trailer, so we couldn't really get much out of it for the moment. But from what I was able to get in terms of the information, yeah, favorite games in the MK. I figured I might as well do that, man, just so we could kind of get excited for the game to be released, because from trying to get my train of thought back, man. Waking up at 6 in the morning is really fucked with my head. But yeah, like we got most of the original characters, minus Kano and Sonya, but they are also implementing cameo characters, so basically assist characters within the game, which is going to be very interesting, because like as Maximilian said, it's going to probably feel a little like Marvel 1. So we'll see how that goes, man. But regardless, in light of the hype for like the new game, I figure I might as well try to go for which games in the franchise are my favorites or least favorites. But I will get some of these out of the way because, for one, I have not ever played them or played these particular versions. These are all the versions of the games within the chronology of the, you know, like Mortal Kombat games over the past freaking 30 years now. Yeah, I'm excited about the gameplay trailer when it does come out, man. It's gonna be wild, because with the gameplay, I wonder how the pace of the game is gonna be. Like, is it gonna be like MKX where it's completely fast-paced, or is it gonna be a lot more like grounded and technical and slow like MK11 was? So we'll talk more about it when we get to the games, but yeah, man, let's go ahead and start with the OG, the one that started it all back in 1992. And that's the original Mortal Kombat. So I had actually not gotten into the Mortal Kombat games until my early teen years. And funny enough, somehow Mortal Kombat 1 was the first game I've ever played. And I think behind that was Mortal Kombat 3. But in terms of the original, it is dated for its time now, just because of how like basic the gameplay is. It was a time where you could spam the X button on like your PSP or whatever like you were playing, just spam the punches. And of course, down 2 is a universal thing that they have pretty much held in every single game afterwards, which is awesome. But no, with original Mortal Kombat, although it's not a like great game, I would consider, like, I would say it's about average now, just because of the fact that we are kind of comparing the games for what they kind of like accomplish within their time. But yeah, man, it's definitely had a lot of aging, but at the same time, there is still some fun to be had. You know, Mortal Kombat 2 is arguably the most popular Mortal Kombat game, and it's definitely the one to really put the franchise on the map. And good lord, was it one of the best video games to ever steal the fuck out of your quarters in the arcade machines, man. It was unbearably cheap, constant input reading, and of course Shao Kahn doing Shao Kahn things for the first time. But even despite that, it is a lot more polished gameplay than Mortal Kombat was. And sure enough, although I don't consider it one of my personal favorites, it is hard to deny how great this game is. So, at bare minimum, this is a good, if not flawless game. I'm teetering in between good and flawless, to be honest, man. I'd say for me personally, I'll keep it at good, because to be honest, I had not spent as much time on that game as some of the others on the list. So I think good is okay for me. Mortal Kombat 3. So this one is actually the game that I grew up with. I have never touched Ultimate MK3, which is, I know, it's pretty wild. I'll go ahead and put this here now. And yeah, that's pretty crazy that Scorpion was not in the original MK3. But even despite that, like, they definitely changed some of the things, like the whole sprint mechanic, the combo system, and honestly, the story felt a lot darker in MK3. And to be honest, I like it for that reason. So I would personally, as much as Ultimate MK3 existed, obviously, and I never really had the chance to play Rain, Noob, like Scorpion, like those particular characters, I would still, excuse me, I would still put it on good. Just because, yes, although I didn't play those characters, and although I didn't play Ultimate MK3, I was still able to have a lot of fun with this game in particular. You know, for what it did have. I believe it had Mercy. I don't, for the life of me, remember if it had Brutalities. I don't think it did. But there was a lot of fun to be had in this game. So, MK Trilogy is another one of those examples. In fact, the next 3 are actually ones that I've never played. So, MK Trilogy, never played. Mythologies, Sub-Zero, I've never played. And Special Forces, thank God I've never played. So, we got those out of the list, and that's pretty much most of the OG PlayStation games, which is hilarious. But, yeah, what can I say? MK Trilogy, I didn't really have the access for that game in particular. You know, it was a whole complete collection of all the characters that were released at the time. I do wish I had a chance to play it, maybe someday. But with Mythologies, I could just look at other people's playthroughs, and I could already tell that that's a pain in the ass to play. Like, a particular command or button press to turn around on a platformer, like, dude, no. No, man. And then, of course, with Special Forces, which is arguably worse. I've never played that one either. And considering that Ed Boon has essentially disowned this game, I'm not surprised that this is kind of left in left in the freaking Shadow Realm. So we're going to MK4 now. Like this one, I do remember a long time ago, back when most restaurants would have arcade cabinets and stuff. I would see like this white dude with spikes on his shoulders and stuff, and basically Quan Chi on the arcade cabinet. And then I would see a freaking continue screen of like Scorpion falling down this well or something, and I was always in shock because, yeah, like early teen years, I saw this on the cabinet, never played it, but then seeing him actually fall into a bed of spikes, I'm like, oh my god, what is happening here? But yeah, the whole system with like the bone crusher like techniques or whatever in the game, I think they were like grapple moves. I don't remember too much about MK4, but it was the series' first dive into like the 3D types of combat games, which is definitely dated, like for sure. But at the same time, there was still a little bit of fun to be had in this game, although there are a lot of recycled stuff in the game as well, which is unfortunate when it comes to some of the music and, God forbid, the fatalities on the returning characters. And let's not even get started on how bad the cinematics were in the game, man, for the endings. Oh, Lord. Yeah, this... I... Honestly, I don't know why I have a bad tier list, because there isn't an MK game that I've played that I would consider bad, personally. Like, if I'm being, like, completely for real. So, MK4 I would put on average, because there is a little bit of fun to be had, although it is one of the Mortal Kombat games that I've played the least compared to the ones on the list here. So, yeah, that's MK4. MK Gold, this one I know is basically an expansion. You know, they add, I believe they add Sector, Cyrax, Katana, Melina, and there might be more that I'm missing. I think Goro as well, and Meat. But I've never played this, so I'll go ahead and throw this here as well. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Okay, so for a while I had not actually played this game. In fact, I first saw it at a cousin's, and I watched them play it. My cousins played this gross ass character with flies all over him. I believe his name is Drawman, you know, with the Oni mask and the mace. And the game was, at the time, it was crazy, man. You know, although there's a lot of popcorn guts now that I've noticed in the game, but at the same time, it definitely felt like a darker game as well. So, for the time that I have spent playing on this, I would also put this on average. Because, yeah, like the content within the game wasn't really too much. It really sucked that Conquest mode in Deadly Alliance was essentially a long-ass tutorial. But thankfully they get to do more with like Conquest later on. Starting with, you know, unironically, we got MK Deception. So this one, I also had not spent too much time playing the regular game. I put a lot of time on Conquest. I put a lot of time on like puzzle combat. Chess combat was pretty neat, but yeah, man, the game was a lot more polished for like the 3D era of games. And yeah, they brought back stage fatalities as well for this. I forgot to mention. Deadly Alliance did not have stage fatalities, which is crazy. But yeah, we got MK Deception. I would 100% put it on good. Like, no question. Shaolin Monks? Oh, Lord. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way now. It is crazy how Shaolin Monks was not really expected to be really good, but oh my god, it's just so fun, man. Like, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, main characters of the game, which was originally supposed to be Raiden, from what I've heard. But with Shaolin Monks, man, having a buddy or like a brother playing alongside you in an adventure against like the Mortal Kombat 2 universe, you know, with like going against Reptile, Ermac, Melina, freaking Baraka, Kano, Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung. Like, it's crazy. There is so much to do within that game, which I think you could probably knock out within like 5 or 6 hours. But still, man, they put a lot of secrets in the game, and it's definitely a labor of love. And I love Shaolin Monks for that very reason, man. It helps that you could also play as Scorpion and Sub-Zero within the story as well to kind of give it another sense of replayability. And yeah, although I didn't dive deep into multiplayer too much, or like versus mode, the single player itself sold me on it being a flawless game, dude. Like, if I'm being real. So, well-deserved flawless game. MK Armageddon. So, I know that this game has been clowned on a lot by the community with like the fatalities, lack of like, I guess like creativity. Yeah, definitely creativity with the fatalities. But I enjoy the hell out of this game, man. Like, the conquest mode was actually pretty fun, although Taven was kind of a forgettable character. You know, that whole storyline, I still had fun with it. Excuse me. Motor Kombat, I actually had a lot of fun with that as well. I, for the longest time, wished that there was a full spin-off game of Mortal Kombat so that I can play it. So, guilty, but not guilty. I would put Armageddon at good, man. Because although it doesn't have, like, creative fatalities for the characters, because it's the whole, like, create your own fatalities, which was mostly a miss, and the whole aerial combat that they hyped up as well, I still had fun with it, so I'll put it on good. It's a good game for me. MK versus DC. Okay, so it irks me to this day that this is considered Mortal Kombat 8. I'm still trying to kind of wrap my head around it, but whatever. MK vs. DC, not spent too much time on it. I put around as much time on the game as I have, like, MK4, for example, which is not a lot, but I played it with a couple of buddies at the time. That was a long time ago, and only a couple years ago for, like, the achievements on the Xbox and whatnot, but the game is, like, definitely dated. It really feels like the 3D era, like, Mortal Kombat games, but with DC characters as well, which is essentially what it is. But yeah, I'd say it's an average game for me, man, personally. I don't really have too much to say. But now we are looking at the heavy hitters. The real heavy hitters. Yeah, this is when NRS, or basically Midway, was no longer in the picture, and NRS came in and definitely re-polished the MK franchise for the better. So, Mortal Kombat 9 is an easy, flawless game. The freaking tag mechanics, the whole like gravity mechanic as well for like combos. The story was insane. The character roster was great. Man, there's so much to mention, dude. There is so much like offline content that you could do in the game. Of course, you got the crypt, you know, with constant jump scares, which can be a little annoying. a lot of like concept art and stuff in the game, which is pretty cool. I'm trying to think to the top of my head. Yeah, and then a challenge tower, like the 300 challenges there. It really has a lot of stuff within the game for its time, man. It's crazy to think that during the time of this recording, MK11 is 12 years old. Like, that's wild. But yeah, man, easy flawless game for me. Mortal Kombat X. So this game came out around the time that I was no longer in the United States, and I had not been able to really play it for a while until I finally got an Xbox One. And sure enough, once I did, I put some time in the game, and I definitely had some fun with it. The story mode was pretty good, and like the offline content was also pretty good as well. Not as good as MK9 personally, but oh man, like the guest characters in this one, I forgot to mention that with MK9. Excuse me. Very good, man. You have freaking Predator, Alien, and Leatherface. That's freaking weird. Weird roster. And definitely wouldn't be able to happen again today, thanks to, you know, like the Predator ownership rights to Disney now. But MKX is another flawless game for me, man. Although it is my personal lesser favorite compared to these three, I still have a lot of fun playing it, man. So now we are looking at Mortal Kombat 11. I can't even say latest in the roster now, or the freaking list. In this list, yes, but MK11 definitely had the opportunity for like a longer lifespan compared to a lot of the games on this list, if not all of them. Yeah, dude, check out the trailer. It's pretty wild. I won't say too much now, but I think you'll have a blast with it once you see it. But yeah, man, with MK11, believe it or not, this game I probably spent the most time in compared to the series. And it's not for the reasons you think. Like, for one, the crypt, this is probably the best crypt in the entire series, for me personally. There is so much to do within it, man. It is crazy. Crypt mode in this made me want a Disneyland for like the Mortal Kombat universe. Yeah, it's a complete reboot, man. They no longer look 50 anymore, so it's kind of a welcome change if I'm being honest. Not to mention that Jean-Claude Van Damme skin for Johnny Cage is apparently confirmed, which is insane. But a great idea that honestly should have been done a long time ago, considering the actual history. But yeah, going back to MK11, dude, Crypt mode was just so fun, man. So many tidbits, so many secrets that you could do. I do remember like the head chests at the time were super tedious, but at the same time, you could spend hours upon it, hours on the game, just with the crypt. And then of course we got the story mode, which is also pretty good, and the only game so far to have a story DLC as well, which is pretty cool. And I kind of like the whole take on it, you know, as much as people like ragging on about like the MK story or the MK11 story in particular, I still had a lot of fun with it for what it is. And the gameplay is definitely a lot slower compared to MK9 and MKX. It's a lot more technical and grounded, but at the same time, oh yeah, not to mention the whole like 50-50 over-reliance on that kind of system, which can be annoying for players, especially like the like the seasoned players or whatnot, but even despite those flaws, man, I have so much fun with MK11. And of course, you got like the guest characters like Rambo, you got Robocop, you got Terminator, the Joker, and finally you got Spawn in the game, which is wild. For the most part, he does play pretty fun in the game and has some creativity with his combos, but regardless, MK11 for me, although I admit that it's not the best within the holy trinity of the NRS games, I am still more than willing to put this on flawless. Do I like it more than MK2? Only because of how much time I spent on it, man. So that's almost my basic list. I know I don't really have any games that are bad, but I'm not gonna bullshit you guys and pretend that I've played any of these 5 games and just put it on bad because that's like the popular opinion on it. And I'm sure it is for people that have played it, but I personally haven't, so I'm not gonna pull that card. So yeah, man, that's my basic list here. By all means, feel free to let me know in the comments what your favorite games are. You know, where would you put on what? Like, what tier? You know, like, by all means. Because, for me, personally, I don't like the idea of having, like, bad games on the list. More because of the fact that there will always be a sense of fun on, like, some of them. And yeah, that's of course coming from somebody that has not played these supposed bad games. You know who you are. But I haven't had access to them, and probably never will. But I'm okay with that. So that's gonna do it for me, y'all. I know this was like a relatively short kind of like clip here or whatnot, but I'm excited for Mortal Kombat 1. I am very much looking forward to what the gameplay is going to be and what they're going to show, because we already got Shang Tsung as the pre-order bonus. We already got most of that Mortal Kombat 2 roster pretty much confirmed based on the trailer. And we got tag mechanics, or like assist mechanics at least. So let's see what they do with it, man. I'm very much looking forward to it, and you best believe that I am going to be doing some Mortal Kombat, or a lot of Mortal Kombat 1 content with this. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch y'all later.